Korea is rebranding itself with architecture that is going to storm the world. Already famous for exporting its cultural influence, K-pop and cinema, Korea is reimagining its traditionally conceived designs into a modernistic makeover that carves out spaces so familiar, yet revolutionary. Korean architecture is about to strike, propelled by visionary architects such as Min Suk-cho and Tae Yang. This blending of the past and present may well be Korea's next big cultural export. During the past 25 years, the Korean cultural wave, or Hallyu, has spread across the globe, captivating audiences with everything from music to fashion, beauty, and film. Hallyu has drawn over 200 million fans worldwide, and international spending on Korean culture is expected to double by 2030. Today, interest in Korean culture has expanded to include its architecture. Cities like Seoul, with its rapidly modernizing skyline, are receiving international acclaim as centers of innovation and design. Recently, Seoul was crowned the best city of 2024 by designers and creatives around the world, a testament to how its cityscapes are impressing global audiences with a style that's deeply unique and culturally resonant. Korean architecture's increasing recognition on the world stage marks it as a rising force, one that mirrors the global ascent of K-pop and Korean cinema. One of the defining features of modern Korean architecture is its peculiar ability to synthesize tradition with modernity. Entrenched in Confucian values and traditional notions of harmony with nature, Korean architecture evolved through influences of a very eventful history. From under Japanese colonial rule to the post-Korean War economic boom, Korea's journey of rediscovering itself as a modern nation is reflected in its architectural style. Traditional Korean architecture, mainly the hanok houses, had fluid layouts with a strong emphasis on the use of natural materials, such as wood and stone. These were designed in such a way as to conserve an organic respect for nature and desire to be in harmony with the surrounding environment. All of these are being revived and representatively implemented by Korean architects into daylight today. Consider the case of Tae Yang. Herein, tradition is woven right within modern works. In his designs, elements such as the madang-an open courtyard in traditional hanok houses are reinterpreted for social connectivity, creating space for congregating. For Yang, tradition is a resource, not a relic, a starting point from which new architectural expressions emerge. This blending of past and present creates buildings that feel timeless, deeply connected to Korean identity, yet simultaneously relevant on a global stage. Original Korean architecture is the concept of memory of the site. Instead of building a new piece of architecture that dismisses the history of a site's location, Korean architects more often try to incorporate and respect the history the land possesses. Tae Yang makes it essential to know the history of a site. According to him, what is the memory of the site and how can we add value to it? Based on this philosophy, architects design spaces which would make their impression not only on locals, but people from all over the world, since each project narrates its saga about its commencement, standing in the present. Consider how the inimitable Yang designed a blue bottle coffee shop in Seoul, drawing his inspiration from Korean homes in the early 1900s, the first time the modern conveniences of indoor plumbing and electricity were introduced. He incorporates historical elements into his modern aesthetic, evoking an atmosphere of home and warmth that links visitors to Korea's architectural heritage. The theme of remembering the past while designing for the present is a characteristic of Korean architecture that appeals with its growing trend globally. The principle of Korean design may be said to be the soul. The placement in which the building was constructed and the materials used in constructing the building were designed in a way that it has created balance and flow in the surroundings. This may be substantiated by the notion of pungsu, an ancient philosophy of feng shui, which can still be traced in modern times. In Seoul, it is a peculiar task for architects to design around the mountainous landscape, a stark contrast to the level topography found in most Western cities. Such a natural setting informs the layout of the city, such that Seoul takes on characteristics of submission rather than dominance to nature. The way to handle that would be to apply only natural materials, as was the case with the hanok houses. oriented in a particular way to maximize sunlight and airflow. These self-same principles are carried forward in modern projects, whereby architects like Min-suk Cho created an invitation with natural light, use of minimum decoration, and maintain a continuity with the outdoors. Cho's work, which centers around simplicity and openness, borrows a lot from traditional Korean notions of beauty that embody balance, subtlety, and restraint. His concept of design is best encapsulated in the quote, "Simple but not humble, and beautiful but not extravagant," whereby his structures are visual feasts without being rooted in quiet elegance. Having been one of the poorest countries in the world to a now thriving economic powerhouse, Korea's influence on the building industry has evolved time and again. In the aftermath of the Korean War, rapid industrialization and urbanization boosted housing and infrastructure demand. During this time of high economic growth, people began reappraising what it actually means to be Korean, and that question became very central to architecture and design. Korean architecture today reflects that journey's complexity, rapid modernization combined with deep regard for heritage. It finds manifestations in the works of architects such as Studio Gaon, known for creating spaces that are flexible, adaptable, and reflective of Korean values. Studio Gaon unites history with functionality into modern usage, therefore creating multifunctional spaces that allow people who share them to feel a sense of community, which comfortably adjusts to the requirements of contemporary living. The studio philosophy, that a building is a dream of the land and a story of people's lives, emphasizes that process by which buildings support rather than disrupt nature and the lives of people. Korean architects are increasingly known on the international stage. Recently, Min-suk Cho became one of the first Koreans commissioned to design the Serpentine Pavilion in London, this being one of the most prestigious architectural platforms in the world. His pavilion had a central open area, or madong, serving as a common gathering space, reflecting the Korean tradition of communal courtyards. The concept, emerging from the idea of creating areas catalyzing or promoting social interaction, finds resonance across the globe. More and more people look towards community-based open spaces. Cho's work serves to point out the adaptability of Korean architectural precepts, fitting them into international projects without any stumbling blocks whatsoever. His approach epitomized how universally appealing Korean design concepts are, from natural light to open spaces and sustainable materials. Such intermingling of traditional Korean elements with a more contemporary aesthetic helped architects like Cho introduce a new type of cultural export, one literally built into the very structure of our surroundings. Korean architecture focuses on how vital it can be to retain an identity while coping with changes in this globalized world, a wildly compelling vision for the future that roots them in history, mindfulness of nature, and the authenticity of human stories that make these spaces truly meaningful. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.